The rain had stopped an hour before dawn, leaving the streets of New York slick and silver beneath the orange glow of streetlights. The city was quiet in that fragile moment before the chaos of the morning began. And from a high-rise apartment overlooking the Hudson, a man named Adrian Miles watched the world below with the kind of calm that came before a storm. He was 38, sharp as a knife, dressed in a black turtleneck and quiet thoughts. To most people, he looked like any other man staring out at the skyline. But inside his mind, a blueprint of the impossible was unfolding, a plan to rob one of the most secure banks in America. It had taken Adrian years to reach this point. He'd been a strategist in corporate finance once, the kind who made money vanish for the rich without leaving a trace. But greed, betrayal, and one wrong signature had cost him everything. The system had eaten him alive, his career, his reputation, his family, all gone. Now, he intended to return the favor. The heist wasn't about the money, not really. It was about control, about proving that the same rules that destroyed him could be rewritten by someone smarter. By 7 a.m., the crew began to arrive. One by one, they filtered into the penthouse, ghosts from different corners of the city, each with their own shadows. First was Nina Vega, the hacker. Small, sharp, and silent, she could break into a digital fortress like it was glass. Then came Marcus Hale, a smooth-talking con artist who could walk into a bank and have the manager smiling by the time he left. Dex Rowan, the driver. Ex-rally racer, fast hands, faster instincts. And finally, Cole Anders, the inside man, a security contractor who knew the Federal Reserve building like the back of his scarred hand. They didn't speak much at first. There was no need for introductions. Adrian had chosen each one carefully, studying them for months before the approach. On the table before them was a large digital tablet, its surface glowing with blueprints of the New York Central Trust Bank, a 20-story glass and steel monument that housed billions in physical reserves and gold bonds. Adrian looked at them, his voice calm and even. "Gentlemen and lady, this isn't a smash and grab. We're not here for vaults or teller cash. We're going for the data core, the encrypted backup that controls digital asset transfers. You steal the data, you own the money before it even exists." Nina smiled faintly, a flicker of challenge in her eyes. "You mean we're not stealing cash, we're stealing numbers." "Exactly," Adrian said. "Untraceable, invisible, unfreezable." For 2 weeks, they trained like soldiers. Every second was accounted for. Nina cracked into the bank's secondary server to reroute surveillance feeds. Marcus learned the manager's routine, his coffee breaks, his habits, his weaknesses. Cole created new access badges under fake maintenance IDs, and Dex mapped every escape route in a 15-block radius, rehearsing timing down to the millisecond. Adrian oversaw everything, moving through the operation like a chess master, never letting emotion cloud the pattern. The night before the heist, they gathered again. The rain had returned, tapping softly on the windows. "Once we start," Adrian said, "there's no turning back. We walk in as ghosts, we walk out as legends." He paused, "And remember, no names on comms, no mistakes." Morning came fast, the city roared to life. At precisely 9:42 a.m., the crew entered the building disguised as maintenance contractors. Their van, labeled Metro Air Systems, parked casually in the underground lot. Security cameras caught their faces. But thanks to Nina, those feeds looped 15 seconds of harmless footage on repeat. Inside the van, Dex adjusted his gloves, heartbeat steady. Adrian's voice came through the earpiece. "Initiate." Nina was already in the control room, pretending to repair a terminal. Her fingers danced across her tablet, bypassing firewalls faster than most people typed their name. One by one, the bank's cameras went dark. Cole swiped their forged badges, granting access to the lower levels. Marcus, dressed in a crisp suit, was upstairs, chatting with the branch director, spinning a story about a cybersecurity audit. Everything moved like clockwork. By 10:07 a.m., Adrian and Cole were standing outside the glass chamber that held the data core. A cylindrical vault of reinforced titanium, filled with servers that hummed like a sleeping dragon. 2 biometric locks guarded the entrance, both requiring retinal verification. Cole's contribution came into play here. He'd cloned the head of security's access pattern weeks ago, using a lens reflection trick. Adrian placed the scanner before his eye, heartbeat in sync with the soft mechanical click that followed. The door opened. Inside, the air was cold, sterile, humming with the pulse of digital life. Nina's voice whispered in their ears, "You've got 90 seconds. After that, security AI resets." Adrian plugged in the extraction drive, a sleek black module coded to override encryption algorithms. The servers flickered, data pouring into the drive like a river of light. 90 seconds later, they were walking out, faces calm, bodies unhurried. No alarms, no suspicion. By 10:90 a.m., Marcus excused himself from the manager's office with a smile. Dex started the van. The crew loaded their equipment, blending into traffic like ghosts. In less than 20 minutes, the impossible had been done. 5 people had stolen $500 million from one of the most secure institutions in the country, without a single gunshot or alarm. They regrouped at a safe house in Brooklyn. The atmosphere buzzed with disbelief and quiet triumph. Nina decrypted the data, transferring digital assets to offshore accounts, each one protected by multiple shells. The numbers on the screen climbed. 100 million, 200 million, 500 million. It was real. Marcus laughed, collapsing onto the couch. "We just robbed the gods." Adrian smiled faintly. Not robbed, outplayed. Oh, for a moment, it felt perfect. They had beaten the system, rewritten the rules. But perfection never lasts. At midnight, Adrian stepped out onto the fire escape for air. He stared at the skyline, the endless glow of windows, the hum of distant sirens. The air tasted different now, heavier. Behind him, the apartment lights flickered. Nina looked up from her laptop. Power glitch. Cole checked the fuse box. No, everything's fine. But it wasn't. Across the street, a pair of unmarked SUVs had pulled up. Inside, men in suits watched the building through binoculars. The FBI had been tipped off. But by whom? Adrian's instincts screamed. He turned toward Nina, then to Cole, Marcus, and Dex. "Someone sold us out." The silence that followed was sharp enough to cut. Before anyone could answer, Marcus' phone buzzed. He looked down, one new message. No sender. Just 4 words, "Thank you for everything." His face drained of color. "Adrian, my offshore account's empty." Then chaos. Nina's laptop screen went black. The transfer trail, gone. Every dollar they'd stolen had been rerouted to a single, unknown account. Adrian lunged toward her, typing rapid commands, but it was too late. A digital ghost had erased their victory. Cole's voice broke the silence. "Who had access to the drive after extraction?" Everyone looked at Nina. Her hands trembled. Only I handled it. But I didn't." "Then who did?" Adrian demanded. In that instant, realization hit him. The betrayal wasn't from within the team. It was built into the plan. A shadow 6th member, someone who had helped design the algorithm that Nina used to crack the vault, an unseen ghost who had written himself into the code. Adrian's phone vibrated. One message: "Game over, Miles. You're not the only one who wanted revenge." Sirens wailed outside. Red and blue light splashed across the windows. Adrian looked at the crew, his voice calm even as chaos erupted. "We walk." Now, they split in 4 directions. Dex roared off in the van, Cole melted into the back alleys, Nina vanished into the subway. Adrian stayed behind for a second, staring at the skyline that had once promised him everything. By the time the FBI stormed the apartment, it was empty. A single black tablet left glowing on the table, displaying the words, "The system always wins." But that wasn't the end. Weeks later, in a quiet cafe in Lisbon, a man in a black coat sat sipping coffee. He looked up as a waitress passed Nina. She paused, surprise flickering across her face. Adrian smiled slightly, setting down his cup. "Took you long enough." She sat down, heart pounding. "You're supposed to be dead." "I was, until I realized something." He slid a flash drive across the table. "The system always wins, unless you